Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time. I've missed you guys. Hope everyone had a great holiday and New Year. If New Year's passed yet, I'm not sure when I'm going to be uploading this. But yeah, anyway, we're here in the studio with the revamped background, which I'm super excited about, to talk about how I made my song Monster. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, guys, before we hop into it, if you guys are new here and have never watched one of my production videos ever before, just know that this is going to sound slightly different than the final product. And that's because when I produce a song, when I'm done with the actual production part, I render all the stems, I bring it into a whole separate project, and then that's where I mix and master and finalize and do all that other stuff. So again, it's going to sound more or less the same, but if you do hear like slight nuanced details missing, hello, microphone. Yeah, that's why. All right, guys. So here's the project for Monster. And Monster actually came about because I made it for my YouTube intro. And it was my YouTube intro for the longest time. And you guys were actually saying in the comments to finish it, or like, what's this ID? What's this song? And yeah, it was super cool to see. So I decided to go ahead and finish it. And I'm really glad I did, because I'm actually really, really proud of this song. And we'll dive into it a bit, talk about some of the things that I did, but I think it's a pretty cool song. So anyway, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the synths first, since I think mainly that's what you guys would probably want to see. So here is what it sounds like. Main lead. This is the main sound. This is what makes up the lead stack. In this case, in this song, there is a true main lead and everything else is a supporting lead. Because sometimes when I produce, I'll have like 7 leads and they all contribute to make like one big lead. Yeah, that's not the case here. Basically, this is the main lead sound. So you can see right away that that's the main, like, iconic, or not iconic, that's dramatic. That's the recognizable sound of the lead stack pretty much. And then, yeah, everything else is pretty much supporting. So first, the main lead, it's from Nexus. It's from Steve Aoki's pack. The lead is called Lionheart. And without any processing, it sounds like this. So right out of Nexus, it sounds like a great lead already. And basically everything that I've added is just to boost it up and make it fatter, bigger, better, all the above. So on the individual channel itself, there's only an EQ, which is taking out a resonant frequency. There's a kickstart on here as well for a sidechain, which is being automated. And then it's being sent to a lead bus group, which I guess we could talk about now since we're here. But basically, all the leads are being sent here. We got OTT, we got sausage fattener, EQ, just more EQ, reverb, a transient shaper actually, which is pretty interesting. I just wanted more attack on the leads, I guess, at the time. This is a pretty old project, so forgive me if certain things are a little fuzzy. But yeah, other than that, EQ, multiband. We can check out the multiband compressor to see what that's doing. I love multiband compressors. Sometimes I like to use it almost as an EQ rather than a multiband compressor, which is probably what I did here. Yeah, so it's hard to tell, and I apologize for the extreme latency. I have to use a different sound card other than my UAD to record these videos, and the latency is pumped up because this project is huge. So disclaimer, that's why it's super laggy, and yeah, anyway, definitely helps it there. We can go forward to the lead group. So everything in the lead bus is going to the lead group. There's a ton of processing here, but this is normally how I do things. Normally I'll do the individual leads going into the lead bus, and then they go into a lead group, because like sometimes, like in this case, I have a lead down here that I didn't want in the bus, whatever. We move on. Pultec. To brighten it up nice and sweet, we have some automation, CLA effects, volume automation, filtering. This was an EQ to make some room for the vocal, more automation stuff. This was probably just to make the reverse reverb. We have Soothe, which is an incredible plugin on the harsh synth preset, helping out a bit, tame it. Just some more EQ, more multiband, also controlling the harshness. And we have Focus One, which is widening the leads a bit. Alrighty, so now that we covered all the lead processing, we can talk about some of the other leads. We have the main support lead. which is from Spire. Very just big EDM synth. Next up, it's so funny because I hate this lead. I think it sounds so bad on its own, but whenever you put it amongst other leads as like a supporting lead, I don't know, I just like the way it sounds. Really helps fill out the leads in a nice way. Sure, we'll go with that. Next up, we have the choir lead, I call it. So it's 2 leads. It's exactly what it sounds like. We have a choir from Omnisphere. This is going to take forever to open. There we go. That actually wasn't that bad. Full staccato, choir. Then we have Lethal, which is a pretty cool plugin. This is the male sounding part. Yeah. And then this is like the female sounding part. Again, trying to give it that big monstrous effect. I wanted this song to just sound huge, like a big rave festival song. Yeah, I just wanted to make a dope tune, and I thought this was good. There's your answer. But anyway, for the processing here, it's all the same. Oh, actually, I forgot to talk about the support lead. Support lead, getting widened, getting EQ'd a bit. Same for this one down here. Same for this one. You'll see here that on all the individual leads, it's minimal processing, and then it goes to the lead bus and group and stuff. If you're going to ask too, why didn't I just put the sidechain on the bus and group? I don't know. I made this song a long time ago, and now I would put it on the group. I don't know why I did that. Next up, we have the chant lead. Again, trying to sort of build like an artificial like gang vocal or make it seem like, you know, there's a whole stadium chanting this song. So chanting this song. So between the choir and the chant lead, gives it a really big effect. Almost, for some reason, it reminds me of like FIFA, like just a big crowd of people just chanting a song. And to top it all off, only in the drop did I add a low saw lead, which is like a super detuned lead that's filtered actually, because I only wanted that low mid to mid range part of the synth. In the drop, I just found like the synths were just missing some body. So there was a solution there. So altogether, the synths sound like this. All right, so here in green is my drop bass stack. We can go through each of the individual sounds. The project started with this Aurora bass here in this pattern. So, really sick bass sound. I've added a lot of these sort of octave jumps that I think help make the bass just stick out a little bit more, make it more interesting to listen to. So that started off as sort of the main layer, and it kind of turned into a more of a supporting layer. The main layer is actually, it's called the Ryos bass, mainly because I use it in pretty much every song. I consider this part of my signature sound now, and it sounds like this. So yeah, a really sick bass. There's a reason I like to use this in pretty much all my songs now. So next up we have the rave bass, which just makes it feel a little bit more energetic. Sounds like this. All right, so next up in the bass group, we have the sub, which as you can see here is from my song Being Alive. Very nice warm sub, but you know, with all these basses, I actually found that I was missing some, we'll call it 150 hertz, almost 200 hertz of like just meat in the bass. So I added this, what I call super fat bass, and it almost sounds like a big room kick. It's really sick, actually. Yeah, that's so cool in my opinion. That makes it sound, again, almost like a big room kick, and I think it was really fitting for this song. So all together, just wild basses. So that'll do it for the bass. We could talk about the drums now. So kind of standard progressive house, big room sort of drums. Nothing super crazy here. You know, we have your basic 4 on the floor kick, 4 on the floor clap, you know, ride cymbal. Nothing crazy groundbreaking here. I did try to add, you know, some cool intricacies to make the drop just a bit more interesting. I can go over them quickly. So we have like these little fills here. So all these fills are great. They really help keep the listener intrigued and keep things interesting, really, in my opinion. As the drop progresses, I added this open hat, as well as this rising perk, I called it. Again, just trying to further progress this whole entire drop by adding these sort of elements. So altogether, the drop drums sound like this. For the effects in the drop, it's super basic stuff. We just have some like white noise downs and crowd noise and stuff like that. So we're not going to really go into that. We can talk about some more interesting stuff like the break. To start right off, we can talk about the vocal off the rip. So I received this top line and it basically had zero processing on it, no pitching, no nothing. I did all of the bass foundational processing in a different project. And then in this project, I just elevated that vocal and really helped fit it into the mix. In this project, I could talk about some of the things that I did. If we listen to it raw out of the vocal production project that I did, it sounds like this. Monster in my heart, the magic disappears when we're apart. So again, kind of like my drop leads, majority of this processing is going to be done on the vocal group, but for the individual track itself, we're just boosting the mid-range a little bit. Next, we have a tiny bit of chorus via the Soundtoys little microshift just to spread out the vocal a tiny bit. Then I have a manipulator that I use all throughout the project to automate the formant of the vocal. I also created these dubs in that separate vocal project. And then I created this low layer as well. Altogether, they sound like this. You're woken up a monster in my heart. The magic disappears when... So basically, these three layers, this is the main layer. This layer is helping with the width of the vocal. And then this layer here is helping with the warmth of the vocal. They're all being sent to a vocal group. And then we could talk about some of the processing I did here. So off the rip, we have OTT on 20%. This is kind of crazy. I don't usually do this, but because it's like a pitched up club vocal, it just sounded right to do this. I don't know what it was. I didn't mind that it sounded a little artificial. Like that's kind of the sound I was going for anyway. We have some distortion. I love using the decapitator on vocals. Love the texture that it gives. After that, we have Soothe, which is just catching all the resonant frequencies. This plugin is absolutely incredible. I highly recommend you check it out. I could actually solo the frequencies that it's helping with. You're woken up a monster in my heart. The magic disappears. So all those frequencies that you heard, which are a lot, they're all being tamed by this plugin, and yeah, it just does it in a really natural way that I love. Next up, we have CLA Vocals, which is a sort of old but gold plugin. I love the bass and treble EQ to help shape my vocal, which I've done here. Then we have Supermassive, which is off, but I've probably just used it to create a vocal reverse or something like that somewhere in the project. CLA Effects, which is on the Filter Vox preset, again, probably just to do some automating. I think in the buildup, actually, I automate this. Endless Smile Automation, LFO tool. This is probably for automation somewhere. A lot of automation on this vocal group. And then we finish it off with a limiter. I did all the reverbs and all that other stuff in the old project, but I did, however, add a tape delay in addition to that. It's from Valhalla. Valhalla delay is slowly becoming my favorite delay plugin. The more I mess with it, I've absolutely been loving it lately. But the tape delay sounds like this. You're woken up a monster in my heart. The magic disappears. So this tape delay was super crucial in getting a really big atmospheric vocal effect. For the tape delay, I did add two additional things to it. One, I added a compressor, and basically every time the vocal is playing, the compressor is going to help duck the delay to make room for the vocal, and then when the vocal goes away, the delay comes back up. I did that in a sort of subtle way. I didn't really do it that dramatic, but it does help with the clarity of the vocal. And then after that, I just EQ'd out all the lows and highs just to really focus on this range for the tape delay. Then I have two ginormous reverbs that I made in the vocal production project. One's from Vintage Verb, one is from Supermassive, and they sound like this. So really obnoxiously big reverbs, but in the mix, they just help create that atmosphere that I was going for. So one of the main elements in the break is actually a respace. And if you know me, you know I love respaces so much. They're one of my favorite sounds to use. I try to use them in almost all my projects because I just love them so much. It sounds like this in this project. Crazy respace. We could talk about some of the processing here. I'm cutting off the lows here, cutting off the sub, and then on a higher cut, I'm cutting off all of the side information because I want everything below 100 hertz, 98 hertz to be mono. After that, we have some compression. Respaces tend to be really messy, so I'm just trying to tame it a little bit to make it fit in the mix a bit better. Then we have another compressor just trying to tame it a little bit more. Next, we have a kickstart for the sidechain. After the sidechain, we have a high pass filter for automation, a distortion, and an EQ, again, just to help clean up the sound a bit more. So this is gonna sound really funny, but there's this like famous meme of this little kid dancing in a club, and he's got glasses on and he's kind of going crazy. And that's sort of the moment that I wanted to try to recreate in this break. Once I had the vocal in this respace, I was already so close to capturing like that vibe. So after the respace, I start introducing some drums. I introduce a filtered kick. After the kick, I start introducing some more drum elements to keep things interesting. At this point, I'm really happy with how the break is sounding. I also have the dropped synths actually playing throughout the whole entire break as well, just filtered down. So because I have the drop synths playing in the break filtered down, you can see it already sounds super full. I didn't really need to add too many synth elements here. I did add a sort of piano that I love. I've been using this all the time. Really sick, really helps reinforce that atmosphere. After that, I added these progressive chords to just help with the rhythm of everything. All the synth stuff after that in the first break is mainly just atmospheric. So we have like this slidey sound, which is something I made in a sound design session and I use it all the time. I love that sound. We have this sound called Trippy Bubbles. And then we have the new bird call. All these stuff just really helps reinforce the atmosphere and the overall like epic dark vibe of this break here. For the effects, it's fairly simple. I have a fireplace texture playing through pretty much the whole entire project. And then we have some basic impacts and sweeps and stuff like that. So altogether, the break sounds like this. Again, I apologize for the lag, just having to use FL Studio's built-in sound card. Instead of this one, record these videos, sometimes we're gonna get this extreme lag. So I think the last thing that we should talk about is the second break, because the second break has one of my favorite parts of the song, and that's this guitar part here. So super sick guitar sound. I absolutely love it. And funny enough, it's not even it's not a real recording. It's from a VST. It's from Contact's Electric Sunburst library. Such a sick library. But as I say that, I want to show you guys how by itself, it doesn't even sound that crazy. All the additional processing that I added is really what brings this sound to life. All right, so check this out. This is how the guitar sounds directly from the VST with no processing. So as you can see there, it sounds really dull. Really good foundational piece, but all the processing really helps bring it to life. This is gonna lag really bad, so I can't really play it. Like, I'll try. Yeah, no chance. All right, so basically what happened here is I processed this whole guitar as it is, and then I bounced it into audio, and then I processed it with more stuff. So a ton of stuff went into this guitar, but we'll go over it. So Fab filter off the rip. This is to clean some of the muddiness of the sound. All reliable, Camel Crusher as usual. We have Uber Mod. This is a chorus. This helps widen the sound and just give it this cool texture. We have OTT. We have Fresh Air. Then we have RC20, which is making the sound perfectly imperfect, if you know what I mean. This helps add some more character and texture to the guitar that is otherwise not there. Almost makes it sound more real. Next up, we have a reverb, then soothe, and then a compressor. So after all that processing, I bounce it down into audio, and this is what we're left with. So now that the sound was there, I just wanted to mold it more and really get it to sit better in the mix. Now if I turn everything on, it sounds like this. So to just run through the additional processing that I've added, once it was bounced down into audio, I added a additional delay. We have a sidechain that's being automated. I'm also automating the stereo width of it. So you can see here when the guitar is first introduced, it's about at 75% wideness. And then when the vocal and the drums come in, it goes to 100% wideness, which really helps the impact of everything when everything does come in, makes it feel a lot harder. Next up, we're doing some EQing, dipping the mono information at 156, taming some harsh frequencies here. Then we have a reverb that I'm automating at the end of every 4 bars, just turning it up to 100% to add this cool effect. This is actually what it sounds like. So pretty cool effect. That's what that's doing there. This is just automated for filtering, and then we finish off with a limiter. Alrighty guys, so that'll do it for the walkthrough of Monster. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified the next time I upload. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, I'll see you next time.